Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 635 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our ninth book just came out. It's called From Letters to Leaders, The Legacy of Service. So I want you to go and pick up that book on Amazon today. It's an incredible book. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, there has been no better job or career for me than helping to guide college students to success within their student organizations, such as fraternities, sororities, or athletic teams, but also teaching lifelong skills that will help these students in their careers well after college, with things like problem solving, as an example, or networking in order to get their dream job. Coach Romany, he shares that same passion with me when he's working with college students. Coach Nigel Romany's journey is rooted in a lifelong passion for educating and helping others. He began his career in the banking business, where he focused on servicing and educating clients. This natural inclination led him to transition into teaching, where he found a similar fulfillment in guiding others. His coaching career began over 20 years ago when he stepped in to coach his eldest daughter's soccer team and quickly fell in love with the sport and the coaching aspect. From soccer, he moved to basketball, where he continues to coach youth sports. He sees coaching and teaching as interconnected roles, both centered on educating others and helping them be better. Coach Romany believes that sports offers invaluable life lessons, including perseverance, hard work, and resilience. Welcome to the show, Coach Romany.
Well, thanks for having me, Mike. It's such a pleasure to be here. I've listened to your podcast. I've followed Greek University. I'm so excited to be able to actually have an opportunity to talk to you today and hopefully talk to a couple of students out there as well.
Hey, the pleasure is all mine, and I just love everything that you're doing right now. So, kind of looking at your background, you actually started in banking, and then later you became a teacher and a coach. So I'm wondering, what did you learn about people in banking that actually still shapes the way that you coach and you speak today?
Interesting enough, when you look at it, people all want the same thing. They want to be heard and they want to learn. They want to learn the why. Why are you asking me to do this? Why are you suggesting I do this? What's the benefits? In college, I learned what's in it for me, the WIFM. What's in it for me? So I really try to approach that when I'm talking to students and when I was talking to my customers. And this is why you should be doing this. This is why you should be placing your money here and not everything here. The whole diversification philosophy. And that don't put all the eggs in one basket. Separate yourself, make your money more accessible. In life, you want to be diversified to make yourself more marketable. You don't want to just be pigeonholed, so to speak. You want to have those other skills available to you as well. So people, generally speaking, they acknowledge the fact that they may not know it all, and they're looking for someone who they can trust to guide them in the right direction. And that's really where the service part of banking I really love that part. Sales, not so much, but the servicing was really my forte and what I enjoyed doing, just helping people.
Yeah. I think if you just go out and help people, I think that's what we're put on earth to do, is just help other people. I think that is really the goal of life is, how many other people can you help in life? And so I think that you've clearly seen that. So I love that about your journey. I think it's absolutely incredible. And I love the diversification piece. That's really important too, when you start thinking about what you go to school for. Many of you are going to have the opportunities to go back for a master's degree or maybe even a doctorate at some point. And so having different facets to who you are is a great way to diversify yourself and give yourself more experience. So that way you're marketable in terms of your job into a whole bunch of different industries. As an example, I went to undergrad for accounting. Yeah, accounting, believe it or not. And I make my living as a public speaker. I mean, this is no joke. And then my master's degree was in public service management. And then the doctorate degree was in assessment, learning, and student success in higher education. These are all three very different things, and that's okay. That gives me a lot of different experiences and a lot of different education in order to draw upon in order to do my work. Am I right, Coach?
You're absolutely right. And having that balance of different experiences is really what makes things great. From a coaching standpoint, I always like to have multi-sport athletes because that soccer player can transition to basketball just from the concept of spacing alone.
Hmm.
So you can take different aspects of different sports and apply them to different sports, just like in life. If you can handle this one tough task, whether it's accounting and doing all these tasks, putting together a keynote or doing your marketing or doing your budgeting is going to become so much easier for you because you have that wide range of experience.
Yep.
And that's really where it comes to. And when you talk about service, I'm going to go back to this quickly. My dad said, your rent, actually, not my dad, but my dad has a mansion up in heaven right now because there's a saying that you pay for your rent in heaven with the service you do on earth.
That's a good one.
So that's why I know dad's living up in a mansion right now. So
There you go. I completely agree. And our fraternities and sororities, all of our college student members that belong to those organizations, they agree with you 100%. Let's talk about differences because, here I think is something really important because you grew up as one of the few Black families in your city. How did that early pressure to fit in influence your belief that being different is actually an advantage?
unfortunately, I didn't realize it until I was older. When I look back now, my whole goal was just to fit in. And it wasn't until my teenage years where I met some other guys who had the same interests as I did. And that's where I really started to flourish as myself. And that I thought I had to be like everybody else for my friends to accept me. Once I started being different and doing my own little thing, I still had my friends. I had even more friends because I was willing to step outside of being like everybody else. And so the pressure to conform was there. But once I realized I could step outside and be different, that's when I really started to flourish and really find myself. So when people ask me now, what's your advice to young Black people? I say, just be yourself, ride it, go with it. So yeah, it's amazing when I look back on it thinking, yeah, I really started to enjoy myself and be myself when I allowed myself to be different.
Yeah, I think we all need to embrace those little differences that we all have, every single one of us. And I think that's really the key to success, whether we're talking about on social media and standing out, in social media. What are those little things that make you unique? That's what's going to stand out when you're, standing amongst literally thousands or millions of other people. So embrace those things. I think that is
Embrace
really
those, and,
important.
and that's really what I when I talk to college students about is just being different. My opening slide is a herd of zebras. You don't want to be a zebra. You want to be able to stand out, and you want to be different because every person who's been great and successful is because they did something a little bit differently. They had that uniqueness. When you're looking for a job, you're gonna have who was it? Nikki Joyner said when she was working, she went through 500 resumes a day in the morning, and then 500 more in the afternoon. So you want to be able to have something that's going to stand out positively for you.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't fit into the crowd.
Yeah, we love ourselves, Nikki Joyner. She is just a firecracker full of energy. So
Oh,
we're
isn't
all,
she?
oh yeah, we're all big fans of Nikki over here at Greek University for sure. One of the things that I think about, I actually I share something in common with you in that I lost my dad. He actually passed away over the holidays in December here, so still fresh on my mind. It's still trying to get through that, and it's difficult. There are times when, man, I'd give $1 million just to be able to call my dad and him
Yeah.
actually answer the phone. And caring for your parents at the end of their lives for you was really difficult, but you also say that it was a blessing. So, how did that season in life reshape your definition of success?
Well, reason I say it was a blessing because when I was going through it, it wasn't a blessing at all. It wasn't until near the end that I realized how fortunate I was because I looked to what my older brother, who's wealthy, but he didn't get a chance to see my he saw my dad twice in the last year of his life because of the pandemic. And I'm thinking, wow, it was really hard on him because he didn't get a chance to settle. He didn't have a chance to really go through the whole process. Whereas I had a chance, I knew it was coming. I was there throughout the whole process. So when it came, it hit me hard, but didn't hit me as hard as my brother. And I knew that I had success because I was able to be there with mom and dad for them. And I did what they wanted me to do, what I know they'd want me to do. My brother's, in terms of monetary, he's way more successful than me. I may never have his coin, but I think I'm much more successful. I have four beautiful daughters. He has one boy. My daughters can kick his boy's butt any day of the week because to me, my success was raising my family and being there for my family. So I was able to define what my success was. And I wasn't jealous of him. I was jealous when I was younger because I didn't know better. But I'm no longer jealous of him. I don't want to say I feel sorry for him in case he ever listens to this, but I do. Because he doesn't have, I don't think he has the same fulfillment that I have in my life right now
Yeah.
because I went through that. So
Hmm.
that taught me that you really have to define your own level of success and what really matters to you. And that's what's going to make the difference.
Yeah, 100%. You're not going to be able to take that money with you when you go, right?
No,
The question is, how did you make this world a better place? Did you spend time with your family? Do they know that they love you? All those things.
like my mom and we, we didn't always get along, but we ended great because we had the conversations at the end where we both admitted we did things differently, but we loved each other.
Yeah.
And I had that closure, so to speak, because I was with them throughout the whole process.
Really
And
good stuff.
I really feel sorry for the ones who it just happens like that. That's when it hits the hardest.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
knew it was coming. I had a chance to prepare. It didn't make it any less, but I was prepared for it.
Yeah. Go and spend that time with your family, especially if you know that you're near the end. You won't ever be sorry that you spent that time with them
Yeah,
ever.
true
So go
story.
and
Like when I said my brother hadn't seen it, I don't want to go too much in detail, but I could just see it in Dad's eyes. And I went to the doctor and I said, Doc, I we need to make an exception for my brother to come see him. He came in on a Wednesday, saw Dad at 10 o'clock in the morning Wednesday. Dad passed 2 o'clock in the morning that same night.
wow. Mm, mm. That is tough. Oof. We should also talk about your daughters as well. I know that your daughter once told you to take care of yourself. Why do you think it's often harder for people who are leaders and caregivers to hear that message, take care of yourself?
Because our whole focus is on others. Our whole focus is on making other people better. We sacrifice so much as leaders and caregivers for the purpose of somebody else. And that's just been our whole focus. And we get so tunnel vision that we forget to take care of others. We need the reminder that you can't fill someone else's cup if your teapot isn't full. We need that reminder from someone else. We need someone outside of ourselves to tell us that because we think our joy comes from helping others, which it does. But when she told me that and I went through my whole process, I used the analogy of ground beef versus steak. Apologize to the vegetarians. But I'd much rather serve my family steak every day of the week than have to give them ground beef. So I want to give them the steak version of me now.
Hmm. Nice. I like that a lot. You have a really interesting framework. It basically looks at acceptance and awareness. And then after that, action and accountability. It seems really simple to me. It's very intuitive, but it's powerful. So why do people often resist that first part, the acceptance phase?
The acceptance phase it's a twofold. In that one, we don't. Not everybody wants to be accountable for their own actions. They don't want to say it's my fault. They want to put it on somebody else. It's society's fault. It's the government's fault. It's the teacher who didn't like me fault or whatever reason. It's not their fault. So they're not willing to accept the fact that they need to change. They're not willing to accept the fact that I need to do better. And once you can do that and you're aware that you can do that, that's when you can start the rest of it. The other part is society has told us so often that you're perfect the way you are. And I'm fine with that. But I also don't want people to settle.
Mm.
And that's probably the biggest thing that people have right now is they're taking the word acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean stay still. Acceptance means accept where you are now and accept the fact that you can change. So when you do that, it's hits you hard. Nobody likes to be hit hard. In fact, that yeah, okay, I got to change. And I'm going to throw this at you too. People are so humble; they're afraid to accept the fact that they're good.
Mm.
They're
Yep.
afraid to accept the fact that yeah, I got something worth offering. I have something that other people need. I have value to give to other people. Whether it's been because you never fit in with somebody else, you never fit into the group. But everybody has something to offer. Once you can accept the fact that you're worthy and you were created in someone else's image for a reason, and you accept your differences, you can go out and knock it out of the park.
Yeah. Really good stuff. I like that a lot. Obviously, I'm on Instagram, and when I'm on Instagram, and I'm scrolling through the feed. I'll see a lot of instant results. I'll see some guy out there showing me his six-pack abs on the beach. I'm seeing another post is like, the latest BMW, whatever, and you see all these things, and I can see why people want to acquire all of those things. It's like a status symbol. But you say that true success is not sexy. What does that mean in a culture that's obviously obsessed with instant results and highlight reels?
Um, because if the truth is successful, the work is done behind the lights. You have to work in the dark, so when the lights are shining, you're shining bright. The best things, the greatest changes happen when you don't see it. That dude with the six pack, you don't see what he's not eating, because six packs are made in the kitchen. Um, you're not seeing what they're not eating. The guy who's driving the BMW, you're not seeing him working 20 out of 24 hours a day or working three jobs because we talked about it before. Saying negativity gets all the attention and glamour gets the other part of the attention. But nobody wants to see anybody down on their knees working. But that's where it happens. And that's where the differences are made. And that's actually the toughest part because I work out 6 days a week. And it's easy when I work out because I'm in a great gym where everybody's working hard. But it's when there's nobody around you and you got to push that last set. That's when the growth happens. When nobody's around you to push you but yourself. And that's when it happens. When you're saying, okay, I'm not going to watch this TV show or I'm going to not watch this game, I'm going to go to bed. No one's posting about the fact that I skipped watching Friends today to go to bed early. Hopefully, you college folks are still watching Friends because that's a classic show for a lifetime.
Yeah, that's a really, really good show. I recently saw Jerry Seinfeld live, and somebody at the end of the show, he opened it up for Q&A, and somebody at the end of the show in the audience said to Jerry, "Hey, Jerry, do you watch Friends?" And he's like, "Why would I watch Friends? That's like Seinfeld, but with good-looking people," which I thought was really cute.
Yeah.
But you're so right. I mean, at the end of the day, people see me up on stage and they see that I'm, speaking all over the country and they're like, "Man, that looks really sexy. That looks great." But they don't see all the hard work that goes into getting on that stage. The stage is the reward for all
Absolutely.
of the work that you put in marketing yourself 365 days a year.
Yeah.
When people ask what I do, yeah, I can say that I'm a public speaker, but in reality, 95% of the time, I'm marketing myself.
Yeah.
I'm marketing my team. That's what I'm doing. I'm spending all my time marketing, whether that be at conferences, whether that be on social media, whether that be on Substack, whether that be writing books, and on and on and on. So people don't understand that you see that, the success, but you don't realize how much work goes into it.
Yeah. It's interesting enough. I was watching chasing raising the flag and little things like I studied the greats and I'm starting to study Tom a little bit more. And Tom, there was an episode there where the center said Tom came in. First thing he told me was, how to put baby powder down my butt so I can take the towel out properly and so the ball is dry
Mm.
when you snap it to me. But no one makes you don't hear about that on Monday Night Football
No.
because Tom took care of the little details
Yeah.
that no one's seen.
Hmm.
So you see Tommy with his 7 rings. I can't believe I'm praising Tommy, but I never hated Tommy. I've always respected Tom. He's a Michigan man, Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
But he took care of the little details that nobody sees. They don't
Hmm.
see him working with his receivers in the off season until documentaries like this come out. We don't realize how great these guys are until we see the stuff behind the scenes.
That's right.
We don't see what they're sacrificing. We don't see how they're downstairs working on their shots, working on everything else
Yep. So
because
true.
it
So
doesn't make
true.
for good TV.
Right. We should talk about accountability too. And it's something that I think sometimes college students they struggle with trying to hold their members and their organization accountable. What does accountability look like when maybe you don't have strong mentors in your life or role models around you?
Um, Accountability is a lot of different forms. There's a self accountability where you have to make sure you're accountable to yourself, and that's just done with a self check. But group accountability is really important. You have to hold everybody accountable. Sometimes, as the leader, you have to be willing to tell the truth. And the truth, I always say, is not easy, but often required. Great players want to be told the truth, bottom line. And if you have measurable objectives for your group, you have something to hold them accountable for. But at the same time, make sure you're celebrating those as well.
Hmm.
Making sure you're celebrating the small goals as well as the big goals. When you give them a reason to get something done, they will. They won't, they'll follow you because you're a leader, but they'll work for you because they want to and they like you because there's a reason to.
Hmm. Very good. Yeah, I like that goal setting. That's super important for you to do for yourself and also in your organization. You also speak openly about anxiety and adversity. What is one practical tool that our students can use this week when their anxiety spikes around, let's say, an exam that they need to do to perform well in, or some homework assignment that they need to get done quickly? What should they do when that anxiety spikes?
Oh, and anxiety spikes. Now, Brittany's hopefully will forgive me, Brittany Richmond, because I'm not going to take on her topic. If you guys got a chance to see Brittany, go see Brittany. But my practical, my advice for you right now is trust yourself. Trust your preparation. Trust that you know what you're doing. If you've done the work, you're going to be fine. If you haven't done the work, it's another question. But if you've done the work and you prepared, you are going to you're going to be fine if you follow the process and you have a plan in place. Cramming for an exam is only short term. You're only going to learn about it. You're going to remember it for maybe 12 hours. And then the caffeine's going to be gone and you're going to forget it again. But if you take the time to study properly and do bit by bit and be prepared, everything will take place. I heard one example of anxiety. Anxiety is when you don't know what's going to happen next. But if you're trusting and prepared, you already know what the questions are on the exam. You already know what they're going to be asking you. And that's where preparation comes into play.
Hmm. Very good. Well done. Yeah, Brittany Richmond is one of the best in the business when it comes to anxiety. She's another really great speaker. If you get a chance to see her speak live, no question about it. How does teaching young people how to think instead of what to think build long-term resilience in these students?
Um, I think it's so important that we teach them how to think so they can handle anything that comes at them, no matter what is thrown at them. For mathematics, it's a process. No one's going to ever use the quadratic formula in their life. Okay. But if you know how to solve the quadratic formula based upon given A, B, and C, and you know that process, you can solve anything there is because you know how to follow the process. You know how to dissect things. You know how to break things down. You're able to find out the why in what you're doing. People, critics of education will say, well, why are you teaching kids? Well, there's two sets of critics out there. One who say, why are you teaching kids biology? Why are you teaching them how to dissect frogs? One, we got to give them different interest. Two, we're teaching them how to think. If we teach them how to think properly, they'll be able to solve things. And people say, why don't you teach them how to do their bills? Well, if they learn how to think, they'll be able to figure out the bills by themselves. That's how we did it. We learned how to think so we could solve problems. Education's about problem solving. It's about being able to get through things and handle things that are thrown at you. So,
Yeah, I love that. I love teaching students how to problem solve. I mean, there's a real method and a process to how to problem solve any problem that is put in front of you. There's an actual methodology to do that.
yeah,
So I teach that, not teaching students how they should think, but instead how to solve your own problems
how to solve
because
problems.
I can't predict what problem you're going to have 6 months from now. But if I teach you the methodology on how to solve any problem in the universe, that's going to help you in college and it's going to help you in your career. And guess what? The students and the people who work in corporate America, the ones who move up the fastest and who make the most money, it's the people who know how to solve problems.
Yes.
Okay? Because everybody in the company is going to go to them when they have something difficult to solve, and they quickly move up the corporate ladder. So, for all the college students listening right now, learn how to solve
Solve
problems.
problems.
Coach Romani is absolutely correct. Very good. Really, really good stuff. I like that a lot. All right. So I want to talk one last thing about motivating other people. Okay. Because I know as a coach, you got to motivate that team.
Yeah.
What's the biggest mistake that leaders make when they're motivating other people? And what should they do instead?
The biggest mistake they make is thinking that everybody wants the same thing. Thinking everybody wants the same thing. Find out the reason why they're there. Find out why they're there. From a team perspective, I coach in U15s and U17, U18s. Some of them are there just to be with their friends. Some are there just to play the game. Some want to move on and play D1. So the D1 players, you can push them. You push them a little bit harder. You make their expectations harder. The ones who are just there to be with their friends, you make sure they're part of the team, but also know that you don't have to yell at them as much because they're not playing next year. They want to enjoy that experience. So you have to realize why they're there. And if they're there for the experience, make sure they have the best experience they have. Because coaching's not easy. It's changed over the years, but if you can get their reason why they're there, you can make that experience better. Experience isn't, nobody remembers who won provincials 3 years ago. Once you're provincial champion, you never forget it. But they're going to remember the years that you had with them. And it's scary because if you have kids, what they're going to remember from the games? Going for ice cream afterwards. I took my girls up to a tournament up at Brockville, like 5 hours away. We got our butts kicked on the court. But you know what they remembered? Me going out with 10, 14-year-old girls across the parking lot to the mall to buy ice cream. Because I told the parents, go away, we're having a team meeting. And that's what they remembered, going out and buying ice cream as a team. They don't remember what happened on the court. They remember the experiences they had. So find out the reason why they're there. Find out why they're in your fraternity. Are they there to meet friends? Then make them a social. Put them on the social committee. Are they there to help their resume? Put them in the business department. Whatever. I'm not a specialist on fraternities. I'm not going to say what's all in the sections, but put them in an area where they're going to succeed, and then they're going to thrive if they're doing what they love to do, and you know their reason why.
That's a great point, but not enough leaders are asking their members why. We got to ask. That's really important. So make sure at your next chapter meeting, go around the room and ask every member in your fraternity or sorority, what is it that you're looking to get out of this college experience? And then write it down and who said what. Because then for a leader, now you know exactly how to motivate them. If they
Yeah.
say that they want to have the largest fraternity on campus, then they better be showing up during recruitment periods. If not, you're going to go back to them and say, wait a minute, you told me you wanted to have the largest fraternity on campus. Where were you during recruitment? Right?
It's a lot easier to hold people accountable to their own goals
Yep.
than it is to hold them accountable to your goals.
100%, 100%, right? If you want to have top GPA for your organization, you better believe that I'm going to be looking to you to step it up in terms of your own GPA. right?
Yeah. And you're
So
going to be
all of those things matter.
you're going to be in that study hall helping that next person over there.
Exactly, exactly right. I really like this conversation. This has been, I think, really refreshing and just really important to go over these basics so that way our fraternity and sorority leaders can have a successful 2026 ahead after hearing all of your words. Now, I love that you're in Ontario, Canada. I spent a lot of time in Canada as a University of Buffalo grad. We used to go over the border all the time in Canada, especially because the drinking age was 19. So it was always nice to legally be able to have alcohol there. So the next time I find myself in Ontario, Canada, where should I be going for a great meal?
You can't go wrong with the franchise, the keg. The keg has always produced fantastic steaks, twice baked potato,
Oof,
some crispy onions on it. Oh, yeah, I gotta love me the keg. My daughter works there, but I still love going to the keg. So
I love it. I'm going to head over to the keg right away as soon as I get to Ontario.
yeah,
Hopefully, it'll be some point in 2026. So I'm
um,
looking forward to that for
you'll
sure.
let me know.
I will. I'll meet you over there. That would be
I'm
fantastic.
gonna meet you in. I'll be seeing you in a couple weeks.
All right, I like it. Yeah, we'll definitely get together in a couple of weeks. Conference season is upon us, so that is going to be a lot of fun, no question. So, if our college student listeners, if they want to book you to speak on their college campus, where should they go in order to connect with you?
Coach Romany, www.coachromany.ca. CoachRomany.ca. Website, email is coach@coachromany.ca. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Coach Romany everywhere.
I love it. Coach Romany, you are doing incredible work. Thank you for all your service to our young folks around, not only in the United States, Canada, all over the world. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to hang out with you in person in a couple of weeks. Thanks for spending time with us today.
Thanks for having me on, Mike.
You got it. And to all of our listeners, if you learned something today from Coach Romany, I want you to share this episode with your chapter, drop it in a group chat, share it on social media. You never know who needs to hear this message today. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Bye for now.